too Roman Catholic, but I can tell you, something blessed happened here in 1847. I was trying a case when I was on the bench in New Jersey, a small claims case. So you walk out into the courtroom, there are this many people in the courtroom, and they each want their case heard before lunchtime, because at 1:30 in the afternoon, the same size crowd will return. The typical case is the dry cleaner ruined my dress, but he also tried to pick up my sister. So a lawyer says to me, "Your Honor, I need a translator to present this case to you." I said, "What's the language?" He said, "Italian." I called the courthouse administrator. The courthouse Italian translator was in another courtroom. So I said to the throngs, "Is there anybody here that can speak Italian?" Little guy in the back raised his hand. He comes up. We swear in the translator. We swear in the witness. Here's exactly what happens. Lawyer to translator, tell the court your name. Translator to witness, what is your name? I said, let me see where this is going to go. Ask the next question, counselor. All right, Your Honor. Lawyer to translator, give the court your address. Translator to witness, where is your house? I looked at this character. I said to him, "I thought you told me that you could speak Italian." He said, "I can, Your Honor, but my English, she's not so good." One time I was picking a jury in a criminal case in New Jersey where I sat on the bench. The judge picks the jury. So again, you walk out into a courtroom with a crowd this size, and from a crowd a little smaller than this, you have to extract 12 people who have no bias, no interest, no prejudice, no knowledge of the case, no concern with the outcome. This was a drug distribution case. I had a feeling that there were some people in this courtroom that didn't want to be on the jury. So I said, "Is there anybody here that can't serve on the jury?" Little lady raised her hand, and I said, "Yes, madam, what is it?" She said, "I can't be on this jury because of my occupation." I thought, well, all right, drug distribution case, what could this lady do? I said, "All right, madam, what do you do?" She said, "I'm a soothsayer." A soothsayer? This is 1995. Who calls themselves a soothsayer? I fell for it. I said, "All right, madam, how does this keep you from being on this case?" She said, "Judge, I already know how it ends up." I should have said, "Lady, tell us now and save us the next 3 weeks in the courtroom." All right, from ridiculous trials to sublime and serious and history-changing trials. Some men say the earth is round, and some men say it is flat. But if it is round, could an act of parliament make it flat? And if it is flat, could the king's command make it round? This was an argument made by Thomas More on his trial for high treason. The alleged act of treason was the refusal to acknowledge that the king was the head of the church on earth and could make any law he wanted. When Moore made this argument to his jury, he was not only appealing to their common sense. Of course the parliament couldn't make a flat earth round, and of course the king couldn't make a round earth flat. He was appealing to their understanding of what lawyers and philosophers, and I hope you after today, understand to be the natural law, the natural order of things. The order in the universe created by God cannot be changed by man. It's a pretty basic principle and a pretty basic concept. The argument would be made by Thomas Aquinas. It had been refined from Aristotle. It would be articulated by John Locke. It would be written down by Thomas Jefferson. When Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He was arguing that our rights come from our humanity, and that these rights are inalienable, meaning they cannot be taken away from us. And he was making that argument from the natural law, the same argument that Thomas More unsuccessfully made to his jury. Before Jefferson made that argument, we were, of course, colonists. And we were ruled over by a king and a parliament 3,000 miles away. Seems crazy today that an island would rule a continent with 3,000 miles between them at a time when it took 3 months to get across the ocean. But that's the law and the oppression under which we suffered for 200 years. The king and the parliament had ingenious ways of raising money from us. And one of those ways was called the Stamp Act. The Stamp Act required that every piece of paper in your possession, every book, every pamphlet, every legal document, every financial document, even a poster you were going to nail to a tree, had to bear the king's image. It had to have a stamp with the king's face on it. You think the post office is rough today? You had to go to a foreign post office in the United States and buy a stamp with the sitting king's image on it and put it on every piece of paper in your house. Question: how did the king know if his image was on every piece of paper in your house? Answer: the Parliament enacted the Townshend Acts. The Townshend Acts gave British soldiers the power to write their own search warrants. So they would show up at your home, knock on the door, hand you a piece of paper in which they had authorized themselves to enter your house, ostensibly to look for the stamps. Of course, while there, they might help themselves to food, to alcohol, to furniture. They would frequently even help themselves to the house, which is why we have the Third Amendment that prohibits quartering of troops against the wishes of the owner of the house. This was the last straw. The Stamp Act was so unpopular, even among some of the British ruling classes, that Parliament rescinded it. But the damage was already done. We fought a revolution. We won the revolution. We wrote a constitution. And when we wrote the Constitution, we assured ourselves that the things that the king and the parliament did to us when we were colonists, the government that we would popularly elect and choose ourselves, would never do to us when we are Americans. When we wrote the Constitution in the hot and sticky summer of 1787 in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, by the Delaware River, there was a great debate. And the debate went back to what Thomas More had argued to his jury, and Thomas Jefferson had written in the Declaration of Independence, and Thomas Aquinas had written as the natural law, and that was, where does freedom come from? The small government people, James Madison argued, freedom comes from our humanity, and our humanity is a gift from God. And as God created us in his own image and likeness, and as he is perfectly free, therefore we are perfectly free. And our rights are as natural to us as the noses in the middle of our faces and the fingers on the ends of our hands. That was the argument Madison made, called the natural law.